What's up, guys, and welcome to the Shifty Crab Podcast. My name is Adam, and today I am going to be joined by the pun master general himself, Mr. Terry Jeffs. How are you?
Hello, I am good, guys. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really good. Also joining me today is the best beard in the business. It's Mr. Vince Haley.
What's going on, Adam? My dog has now decided to freak out, so maybe my package is actually here. Who knows?
She's scared of the beard.
If you don't, just to let you in on a little inside information, Vince is waiting for a monitor to arrive for his computer. And it is now scheduled to potentially arrive while we film this podcast. So you might get an unboxing live on the podcast. Who knows?
We actually joked it may happen. It looks like it could be happening.
We shall see.
He's freaking out a lot.
We shall see. Hey, maybe your dog's just excited because it's podcast day.
Woo! Oh, more than likely. He's excited. He's a fan.
We are back, guys. We are back.
I know. If I barked, I would be barking right now. But instead, I'm going to talk. So, guys, the big question. What have you been playing?
Who wants to take this first? You want to take this first thing? Something you've got a new game you want to discuss?
I do. I have been playing The Medium. I know me and you, Adam, we talked a little bit about it on the news break last week. And I rolled credits on it yesterday.
Wow.
And let me tell you, that game does not deserve all the bad reviews it's getting. That game is fantastic. I loved every second of it.
I didn't realize it was getting bad reviews. I see some middling
it's up
ones.
And down, isn't it? Up and down.
It is. It's very mixed, but honestly, coming out of it, I would have expected probably an 8, honestly, across the board. Just because all the way through, keeping it as spoiler-free as possible for people who haven't played the game, who have been interested in the game.
Yeah.
It was incredible. The mystery was there that hooked me from the beginning to the end, and without spoiling too much, the ending was very much a cliffhanger. It was very much a cliffhanger and left me wanting more, which is good because you absolutely want a game leaving you with that. And it's definitely something I'm going to go back and play through a second time because I am going to get all the achievements in this game. I think I ended at like 8 or 9 achievements left, and most of them are collectible based. So that won't be too hard of a cleanup.
Oh, so you enjoyed it?
Oh yeah, absolutely love the game. It just the right amount of suspense and mystery that I didn't know I really wanted, but playing through the game, I definitely wanted more.
I'd seen a few people say that calling it a bit of a walking simulator. Like, is that a fair assumption, or is there a lot more to do than that?
I mean, it kind of is. The main setting of it, I mean, you're bound to one resort, is what they refer to it as. It was a resort where a massacre happened, and a lot of people died, and obviously it has very looming spiritual energy to it. As far as like enemy encounters go, there's only one real enemy kind of chasing you through the game called the Maw, who is absolutely terrifying. Surprisingly, I found out when credits rolled, he's voiced by Troy Baker, which you can absolutely not tell because they have definitely
played with the voice.
They played with the voice for sure.
So is he a bit like a kind of nemesis character, like a pyramid head kind of thing, or that's constantly like going after you?
There are certain story points where he does show up, and you do have to like sneak around him because you can't really fight back against him, which I think is something Bloober Team did in Layers of Fear.
Yes.
So you can kind of stop him in his tracks if he catches you, because you do have spirit energy with your other half that exists in the spirit world. But that only stuns him for a little bit, so you can kind of get away and hide again. But every section is just so tense because he can, in the spirit world, he can see you, but in the real world, he can only smell you. Right. So there are sections when you encounter him, where you're just in the material world or you're just in the spirit world. And that, I was sweating, gripping my controller during those sections, because it's terrifying. Because he will say things like, "I want to wear your skin," or "Let me try you on," which is absolutely disturbing. It plays a little bit into the story of why that's a thing, but it's terrifying, honestly.
I would say the risk with this is, and I'm sure it's sold well, but there's always a risk with the first game leaving it on a cliffhanger as if they don't release a second. Like then you're just left with an annoying cliffhanger. Like
The Order 1886, anyone?
Exactly. Yeah. They went in with all the confidence in the world and nothing. Now, that's not to say that something won't come out with that, but like eventually. But do you think that there will be a second one? Has it already been like? Have you looked online? Seen what anyone said, or?
I haven't yet, but my hope is that we do get a second one, because I absolutely want to be in that world more, and I want to see what happens with the ending, because it was kind of a cut to black ending, which definitely, with a post-credit scene that obviously sets up for a sequel, which hopefully we get. But I just want to see that world fleshed out more, and without going to too many spoilers, I won't say much more on that.
Okay. Nice little tease there.
I can imagine. So, just to clarify, in the real world, he can only smell you.
Yeah.
But in the spirit world, he can only see you.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So in the next game, when they add another world, can he only taste you? Does he just walk around with a big tongue? Just flicking his tongue around like a snake, trying to taste you in the wind? Is that how they evolve on the game?
Without spoiling too much, he may or may not be in a second game.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know anything. Like I haven't played this, but I'm playing this game vicariously through you. That's what I'm doing.
And you're saying he wants to wear your skin?
Yes. He basically wants to consume you because you are a medium.
Okay. But it's not Army Hammer, is it?
Oh, no.
I like that. That's a good one.
Just checking.
So it's a family game then?
Oh, absolutely. You can absolutely play this with your kids watching, I'm sure.
Oh, perfect. So that's what you've been playing. And you said, if you're giving this a score out of 10, like I'm not a huge fan of that, but what would you be looking at for this? Your personal score?
Maybe an 8.5.
Wow, 8.5.
Yeah. I would definitely rate it up there. I'm obviously going through it again to get all the achievements, especially with the collectibles. There's like 3 or 4 different types of collectibles. There's echoes, there's notes you find throughout the world, which usually I'm not a big fan of, but I've found myself in this game reading through all of them because there are a lot of very interesting story beats throughout those. And then there's shattered memories, which somehow I've found all of them in my first playthrough, which are basically these memories you can only see in the spirit world, where that you have to piece together through like some manipulation to get a little bit more of the story in it as well.
Okay. It sounds like a good game.
Is there puzzles in it, Vince, like similar to Resident Evil? Or?
Oh yeah, if you like Resident Evil, you'll like this game, because I feel like it borrows a good bit of elements from it, except for like Resident Evil, you obviously have zombies running around the mansion and throughout the police station, but in this it's just you and occasionally the mall. But there is a lot to explore, and the puzzles, while not particularly difficult, I don't think I really got caught up on too many of them. There is one I definitely had to look up because I forgot about a mechanic you can use to find different things. But overall, I mean, yeah, puzzle's not super challenging, but very interesting to say the least, because you're using every now and again with the puzzles, you are split between the material world and the spirit world. So you're kind of going back and forth, finding objects in one world, manipulating in certain objects and the other to
Mm.
affect the different worlds to try and solve
Yeah.
different puzzles.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Terry, what have you been playing this week?
Yeah, so last week I spoke obviously about the PlayStation 5 and playing Astrobot and Bugsnax. And if there are any viewers, listeners watching it thinking, wait a minute, this guy bought a PlayStation 5 and all he's played is the built-in Astrobot and the free PlayStation Plus game, Bugsnax. Of course not, guys. Come on. I've been playing Demon Souls, right? So for those of you that don't know, Demon Souls, this is the remake of the 2009 Studio Japan game made by Bluepoint, who are most famously, I guess, known for doing the Shadows. No, was it
Shadow of the Colossus?
Shadow of the Colossus, a remake, which was an absolutely fantastic remake. And yep, they've done it again. I mean, I mentioned to you guys before off air, I haven't played through the Souls games, although I know they are right up my street. My only experience with them is with the original Demon Souls. I played through the first few levels on the PlayStation 3. Really enjoyed it, just kind of stopped at some point and never really jumped back on it. So this for me just seemed like the perfect jumping on point to kind of go through. And yeah, I mean, what can I say? This game, obviously it's the only next gen game that I've played, but from what I've seen, this is the benchmark in terms of like visual quality of what the next consoles can do. It is absolutely stunning. The textures are just incredible. Like I was wasted so much time just kind of standing next to a brick wall, admiring the dampness of it, or the water running down, or like the way the water moves when you're wading in, and like the lighting, like just the lighting, like the way the flames flicker off the walls and the shadows and just everything about it. It's like a technical like unparalleled achievement. Like what Bluepoint have done, they've gone far beyond what I ever expected them to do with this game. The audio as well, like I play this with headphones, and just being a very lonely game, you just kind of hearing the echoes, and you're just hearing the enemies and the chink and the chank of the armor and swords down the end of a hallway. You can just hear everything. It just sounds so crisp and so alive. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's Demon Souls. If you've played it before, you know the Souls games. It's a hard game. I like that though. I like that I'm just getting punished all the way through it. But every time I go through, I'm just getting that bit better. I'm mostly just been farming the first few areas for now, like just kind of going through them, which are just like a walk in the park now. When you first play it, they were just taking me out. First level, I was just thinking, how am I going to get through this? Now, just powering through, just collecting as much souls, upgrading my stats. Yeah, absolutely loving it. There was a couple of things I wanted to say about the haptic feedback on the DualSense on this game is great. While not as in your face and apparent as something like Astro's Playroom, it still just gives it that much more immersion. Like you can really feel when you block a sword, like you can kind of feel that metal, the different materials, you can feel them in the controller, which is great. And the load times, that's the other thing I wanted to I didn't really hit on that last time when I was speaking about the other games, but the load times in this game are incredible. And I can't remember too much from what they were like on the PlayStation 3 version. I know that they were quite long. Yeah, between when you die. But it is just literally instant. It's instant. Like when you can have the PlayStation 5 shut down cold. I'm not talking about in rest mode. I'm talking about it shut down. I can put that controller on and I can be in and running around a level in Demon Souls in about 7 seconds. That's how fast. Ridiculous. That's how fast things move now. It's insane. And yeah, obviously if you die, which obviously you die a lot in Demon Souls, it's just instant, like boom, like respawning in the wherever it is. If you're in the main, I forget the name of the main hub world. I think you have, Vince. Have you both played Demon Souls? Or
I've not played Demon Souls. I've seen quite a bit of it, but I've not played it myself, so I do know sort of what's going on.
Vince?
I have only played Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2.
Right.
And I'm right at the end of Bloodborne. I'm probably going to jump back into that pretty soon. But I mean, yeah, I love the Souls series as well. And I really plan on, if I ever get a PS5, to absolutely play through Demon Souls.
Yeah, I think you'd be in heaven here, Vince. I think with this, it's just it's very obviously compared to something like Bloodborne, a lot more slower. So for fans of Bloodborne, don't go in expecting this to be the next gen Bloodborne, because it's not. It's very much a defensive game, taking your time, standing back, which I like that about it. It's just great. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm very, very early in. I'm on. It's a different structure from what I've seen. I haven't played the Dark Souls games, but I know the Dark Souls world is more of a maze that you're kind of making your way around. Whereas in Demon Souls, you start in a hub world and you can choose to go to any levels that you want. Any I think there's like 5 stages, which is quite cool because like each stage has like 5 levels, so you can just kind of tackle them as you want. And I've gone through the first 2 areas of like a couple of the world, so I'm very early into it. But so far, amazing, absolutely loving it.
Are you using the Pulse headset or the?
No. I'm just using. It's like a Turtle Beach. It's like a cheap pair of headphones. That's the one thing I need to invest in. Need to get a decent pair of headphones. But honestly, like playing, I don't know if it's just this game or it's just the PlayStation 5 audio in general, but it sounds amazing. You know, like obviously it could sound a lot better than the earphones I'm using, but yeah, I'm very much a person that I have to play with headphones on if I can. I can't understand these people if they have, obviously I understand if you're playing there and you've got family members and you're chatting, you can't really do that. But if you're playing by yourself late night, I can't understand why anyone would choose to just play with the TV out of their audio, because you're missing so much. Like there's just like when you're playing this game, you can just hear every sound around you, the whole environment, everything.
Yeah, I think for me, my eyes were opened. I was very much just using the TV and just playing normally. I had maybe some speakers or something, and it was and that was fine. Luckily, I had good acoustics in my old place. But then during lockdown, I had another member of my family living with us. So the house was a bit busier. They were working during the day, and they were in meetings or something like that. So I wanted to keep the noise down. So I thought, I'll just plug my headset in. I had a decent headset. I'll plug it in. And the game that I did that originally with was Last of Us 2. And it changed. It opened my eyes.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I've been doing this wrong a long time.
The experience of having headphones in was terrifying for that game anyway.
Yeah.
But was just, this is how I should be doing it. And I purposely went back and did God of War again and had the headphones in. And it didn't really make too much difference with God of War, apart from it just made the Leviathan axe just seemed so much more because of the sound coming through and the music was incredible.
You just feel like you're in it more, don't you?
Yeah, and it keeps you in it. And I did it for a lot of games. I did it when I tried to go through Ghost of Tsushima, and that was really good with the audio in that game. But yeah, I think playing with a headset is probably quite important, especially for a lot of games nowadays.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know.
What about you, Adam?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Vince, what were you saying? Go on, Vince.
The Medium specifically says when you first load it up, use headphones for the best experience.
Yeah.
And did you just hear Troy Baker just whisper to you, "I want to wear your skin"?
No.
That's all it is.
I believe I might try it on my second playthrough, but
yeah, you didn't do it.
No, probably.
I'll be honest. Yeah, something like that. Like I played Alien Isolation with my headphones on, and that is just, it's so intense. Like sometimes you just have to dial it down a bit. Just like, okay, do you know what? I'm just gonna maybe turn the lights on, take these off.
I found myself in Last of Us, in some of the attempts Last of Us 2, just pulling one ear off, just so I could hear around me a little bit. Like, and my headset had the dial with the volume, so I'd just be like, just turn that down just a little bit, just turn that down. But yeah, I've been playing Judgment, which is from Sega, spin-off of Yakuza, and I hadn't heard anything of it, to be honest. And I was listening to I think Kind of Funny's Gamecast, or I think it was Gamecast, maybe Games Daily. They were talking about Judgment, that Greg Miller had gone back and started playing it, and I was really in the mood for a detective game. I really wanted a game like that. And he said it was a really good detective game, and I've dipped my toe in the Yakuza games, but I missed so many of them, and I couldn't be bothered going back. And this story is kind of running in its course. So I thought, do you know what? Judgment's a standalone game. I'll give this a go, and it's really good. It's very over the top, obviously. Like it's very Yakuza style, which isn't a bad thing. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think the missions are really well paced. It's got those quirky little bits to it. Some of the side quests are ridiculous and quite funny. The voice acting, it's been they've done a full English voice cast for it as well as having the original, and the voice acting is really good. The graphics are incredible on the cutscenes, and I'm playing on PlayStation 4. I believe it is coming to PlayStation 5. I think you guys covered it on the news.
Yeah.
The other day. So when I eventually do get a PlayStation 5, I'd like to see how that looks. But yeah, it's a fun game. I only really play it maybe for an hour, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I'll play an hour a little bit another day. I don't think I could sit and do hours and hours of it. But I would like it to be. It doesn't scratch my itch for a detective game. I think I was looking for something a bit more like LA Noire style. A little bit more of a serious detective game, but it's still really good mechanics, works really well. If you played a Yakuza game, you've pretty much played this. They've just added some bits to it where your conversations, when you're in like if you're interrogating someone, you have to ask them the right questions, and you'll get a bonus if you ask all the right questions within the thing. And all of the answers look pretty smart answers, but there'll only be like 2 or 3 that are the ones that you need to ask, but they don't give you any hints, so you have to kind of work out yourself. And it's good.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it briefly on news break, but yeah, I've never played a Yakuza game, but I like the look of them because they got that quirkiness to them, and the setting, in Japan. I love the look of that kind of stuff. It reminds me very similar to like Shenmue. Like I know Shenmue is more just kind of
it's similar.
And I never played the Shenmue games, but again, I always loved the look of them. And there's something that I'd like to go back to and play through that one day. But yeah,
definitely, especially one of the links that it has. So excuse me, with the Shenmue games is the quick time events. If you're chasing after someone, it's got quick time events. Sometimes in a cutscene, it'll have quick time events.
Which Shenmue pretty much invented, right? I think that started there.
I think it was one of the first where most of the game was quick time events, really. But this is the same. It's got a lot, and I think Yakuza really took a lot from Shenmue anyway. And I think this is built on both of them, and it's obviously a spin-off from Yakuza. It's still a Sega game, but yeah, I think it's a solid game. And if you haven't played the Yakuza games, but want that sort of experience, but don't want to go back and play all of the Yakuza games in this story that's going on at the moment, then I'd give Judgment a go. My only criticism is, first time of criticism, it's expensive. I was expecting it because it's a spin-off game. It's not as big as a Yakuza game, that it would be maybe £40, but this is like a £50 game, and I don't know if it's worth £50. But it's still a good game, and I'm nowhere near finished with it. I've only done Act 1, and so we'll see where it goes. Basically, the whole premise of the game is you're trying to catch a serial killer.
Right. Okay.
So that's the basic premise. So
if I like Heavy Rain, would I like this? I know it's a different type of gameplay. What is story-wise? Would it be interesting? Or?
It's the story is interesting in the sense of the very beginning of the story, which isn't a spoiler at all. It's the first 2 minutes of the story. You were a lawyer, and you were defending someone who had been accused of murder, accused of being a serial killer, and you got them off. And then the first thing they did when they came out was murder their girlfriend. Right. So you had followed the evidence, and the evidence led to that. You weren't being corrupt. You genuinely thought that this person was telling the truth. So you stopped being a lawyer and you became a detective, like a private detective.
Yeah.
Private investigator. But you still kind of work loosely with your old law firm. And then your partner who you work with is ex-Yakuza. He got kicked out of the Yakuza, one of the families. But the family that he got kicked out of is the one being accused of being the killer at the beginning, because the murder that happens is a rival Yakuza clan. So basically there's video footage and you have to go and work out how it isn't him and interview people, sneak into places and stuff like that. It's not as serious so far as Heavy Rain, and I think Heavy Rain is probably one of the best games for that sort of thing. And I think it's an incredible atmospheric game. I really, really loved Heavy Rain. But I'd give it a go. I think it's a genuinely good game. It's a lot of fun. It's got a seriousness to it. But then at the same time, it's got that Sega kind of quirk to it where you might be doing some surveillance. So you've got your camera out, which happens quite a lot, and you've got to search for like the cameras or something like that. And on every single one of them, you'll hear a cat meow, and you have to find the cat and take a picture of it.
See, I love that. I love it.
You could be in an office building. At first, it makes sense. You're in an alleyway and you hear a cat and you go, "Oh, what's that?" And you take a picture of it. It goes, "A stray cat." And you go, "Okay, that's cool. Never mind. Carry on." Next one, I was in a building and it's like, "Meow." And then I'm looking around going, "Where the hell is this cat?" But that's become a thing now. So something that should take me like 2 minutes to just do the surveillance, I'm spending 20 minutes looking for a stupid cat just meowing somewhere in a corner. So,
but that to me, that's like Metal Gear humor. You know, like you've got this,
very much like Metal Gear humor.
This story, which is like going into deep politics and really kind of deep issue. It takes itself really seriously, and the next time you kind of listening in to someone like taking a crap on a bog or something. Like it's just like it's just mixing in this weird quirkiness with it.
Or opening up lockers and there's pin-up girls inside the lockers, like totally out of place.
And if you knock against them, it makes like a bouncy sound. Like it just none of it has to make any sense. It's just I like it.
Yeah, so that's what I've been playing anyway. But what I thought would be a good thing to do with our second podcast it's still early in the year. So I thought we should do a little, because I'm a bit of a betting man, a gambling man. I like to win. It's not going well so far, admittedly, but we could do some predictions. We'll do some predictions for what we think are going to happen this year in gaming. So I don't want world predictions. I don't want you to predict today that COVID goes away or anything like that. I want gaming predictions. We're going to do 3 of them each. And hopefully should we make it a pizza bet? The person who gets the most right by the end of the year, the other 2 owe them a pizza.
I like that.
That's a good idea.
I'm going to do something quickly and just cut you off here, Adam, and do something that you were not going to predict for this podcast, because in the first episode, you asked me and Vince a few quick fire questions to let the audience got to know us a little bit better, but we didn't get to hear Adam's.
I'm mystic. You know, I'm mysterious.
I'm going to catch you completely off guard here and fire a few questions for you.
Okay, go.
Okay.
I'm ready. Yeah.
First game in memory, go.
Pass. No, first game in memory. Alex the Kid on the Master System.
Yes.
Putting in a cheat to go underneath the octopus.
Great game.
My first game in memory.
The first console that you remember unboxing.
Unboxing the Sega Mega Drive 2. Like it was the first one I remember unboxing.
What a console.
That was a beast of a console.
Absolute beast.
I remember opening that and the excitement was real.
All-time favorite game.
Okay. All-time favorite game.
Not good when you're on the spot, is it?
No, I hate this. It's a toss-up. I'm going to go with The Last of Us Part 2.
Wow. Okay. Very hot.
I loved that game.
Great pick.
Favorite movie?
So, favorite. Okay. This is a really weird one. Vanilla Sky.
Oh, that's very left
Wow.
field right there. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise action.
Tom Cruise, and I don't know why.
Not
Just
seen that
something
in
about that
many years.
movie just brings back good memories. Love it.
Okay. Right, this one's going to be really quick fire. I want you to answer as quick as you can.
I'm ready.
Nintendo or Sega?
Sega.
Oh, that was quick.
Wow.
Hey,
And-
Sega Master System, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Saturn. They were the first three. There was a Nintendo somewhere in the house. I think I used it as a footstool. Like, I wasn't bothered. I was on about Tomb Raider. I was on about these were my sort of games. Wipeout.
Oh, what? Don't even get me started on Wipeout. And lastly, favorite meal and your favorite drink.
Favorite meal is a chicken gyros, which is, I don't know if you know what that is. It's Greek. It's a pita with chicken, salad, a few onions, some fries, and tzatziki sauce. I spent a lot of my life living in Greece, so that is everyone. And what was the other one? Favorite drink?
Favorite drink?
Jack Daniels and Coke.
Nice little combo there. Yeah. Well, there you go, listeners, viewers. You know a little bit more about Adam.
You know too much. But yeah, well, there you go.
On to your predictions.
On to the predictions. We're going to do 3 predictions each. At the end of the year, when we do a Christmas episode, we will see if any of those predictions have come true. Whoever's got the most predictions, the other 2 have to chip in and buy them a pizza. Is that all good for everyone?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
Sounds
Looking forward to my pizza. I will have an Americano pepperoni with jalapenos and Frank's sauce from Domino's. Okay, we are going to go. We're going to go round in a snake formation. So we're going to start with Terry.
Okay, so yeah, we discussed this off air previously, and I was thinking I could change it up, and I could go with some different stuff. But you know what? I'm just going to kind of stick to my guns and go with what I said before. So do you want me to give all 3 of them, or are we going to go around
one at a time?
One at a time. Okay. So first one. So the long rumored Switch Pro, which was meant to be announced this year, is not going to be announced this year. It's not happening, guys. Sorry, Nintendo fans. I'm sorry to break this to you. Not going to be getting a Switch Pro anytime soon, especially with the sales figures that are coming out with the Switch. There's just no reason for them to kind of hit the brakes on the current model. It's selling like hotcakes. Not going to happen. Will happen down the line, obviously. And I don't think we discussed it in the most recent news episode, Newsbreak, me and Adam. But I think they're going to iterate on this console going forward. I don't think they're going to make, although we did say Nintendo is Nintendo, so they could do something very different, but it's not coming yet. So I'm sorry, it's going to be this for a while. That's my prediction.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because while we've been on air,
don't even go.
No. There is something though.
Impossible.
This was on the 2nd of January.
Okay.
So the Nintendo president has denied a new Nintendo Switch model will be announced in the near future.
Yeah,
any variation on the current model.
Exactly, but this is Nintendo we're talking about. They'll say
they lie all the
that,
time,
and then week later they'll announce it. So you can't even listen to what they say. But
I think it's a solid one. I think it's solid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine it's going to happen. We'll go to me next. I'm going to go with, I think, potentially the only one I used when we spoke about this off air, but my most solid one. GTA 6 will be announced officially this year. Guys, you heard it here first.
No.
GTA 6 will be here this year. You'll be there.
Sad.
You'll see a black screen. The Rockstar logo will come up, and then you'll hear some music come in. I'm thinking probably a little bit of a beachy vibe. You'll hear a little bit of a nice little rhythm to it. It'll open up over a beach. It'll turn around. It's Miami, or Vice City, as they like to call it. And you will see GTA 6. It won't be much. It'll just be that announcement trailer. Maybe if it's early enough in the year, you'll get something later on in the year, but that'll be it. Now, I do think that they're going to tease it with Vice City first, but I don't think it's going to just be Vice City. I do think when we get to the game, it is going to be multiple locations. I think that's the logical thing, because I don't think the Vice City is a big enough map for Rockstar anymore. When they've had GTA 5, which was an incredibly sized map, I think Vice City is a bit too small. But that's irrelevant. GTA 6 announced this year. Like, don't know when the release date is. Probably in about 3 years. But
Adam, forget this competition. If they announce this year that GTA 6 is going to be set in Vice City, I'll buy you both a pizza.
Lovely.
All right.
I want them to write the 6 with the pepperoni. It's happening, guys. It's happening.
It can't just be a 6.
It is going to be the good news story of the year. We're all going to be slogging along going, oh, this year, what date is it? Then bam. First thing you'll see, Rockstar change their header. Rockstar change their logo, just like they did with Red Dead. And then bam.
All they would need to do, I mean, it's not happening, you're absolutely mad, but if all they would need to do is change their Rockstar logo to neon pink, and everyone would lose their mind.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely lose their mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they changed their header, I think, last year in about August. And it had like what looked like an Oscar statue and something like that. Or it's changed something. I don't know if it's on the header or on their website. It was the header on their website. And it was just celebrating all of the games, basically. And people lost their shit. They were like, oh my God, it's coming. It's coming. GTA 6 is coming. But this year, GTA 6 is coming. Like, we're going to hit, well, it's not coming this year. But we're
not a chance in hell. Vince, what do you think?
No, absolutely not. They're not going to do it this year. That game would have to be either midway through development or pretty close to like an alpha stage. But the fact that we did a news story a couple weeks back that they were working with new AI technology means that game is so far into pre-production. Plus, new consoles have just come out, so they're going to have time to tinker with those to get the best abilities, like especially your Dream World, Adam, where they're doing multiple cities. Like that, they would have to have started planning that idea for next gen before they got their hands on next gen.
Just remember this moment, because what I'm going to do, Vince, is when this happens, the intro to all of the podcasts going forward would be you going, this is never going to happen. They need this, this, and this. And when we start the official GTA 6 countdown, which is going to start this year, and I'm here with cheesy grease all over my mouth because I've just been eating a pizza, you will be embarrassed.
It'll be a win-win scenario because I think we'd both be extremely pleased to be wrong, but never going to happen.
Anyway, we'll see. That is my surefire one. So I'm worried what you think about the rest.
Oh boy.
Okay, Vince, we're coming over to you. Hit me with your first prediction.
Prediction number 1. Everybody says it's not going to happen, but let's see. Elden Ring is September 2021. Now, I know what you're thinking. Too early, right? No. Elden Ring is September is a good month to release Elden Ring. From what I've heard, they're probably pretty much done with the game. But you don't want to hit that October, November window because that's when your Call of Duties are going to come out. That's when your Halos are probably going to come out. We'll get to that later. You don't want to mess with the heavy hitters. So you put it out in September. You give it time to breathe, time for people to make it game of the year. You know, Elden Ring, September, locking it in. No.
I think we haven't seen anywhere near enough of this game for it to be coming out in September.
That's from Soft Strategy. They put out little hints.
I'm on the fence with this one. I can see. I would not be surprised if they there's a rumored PlayStation. What do we call it?
State of Play.
State of Play coming. Is it March or is it February?
End of February, beginning of March, I think. Yeah.
And if that comes, I can easily see a release date being announced. And it would not surprise me if we got a 2021 release date with it. But I could easily see it also going to maybe early 2022. But September, maybe a little bit too early. I could see maybe like towards the end of the year, like maybe like a November time, something like that, which will be a whole year past again since Demon Souls, which is crazy to think of that if that that time comes around. But yeah, but yeah, 20. I don't think 2021's a too big of a like crazy shout for it to happen. I would like to see it happen, absolutely, because I just want to see more of that game. So know that Vince,
Yeah, no, yeah,
is dying to see
Oh
more.
yeah.
I think it's unlikely for September. I just think that a game that is obviously wanted by people, but I wouldn't say it's mainstream. I wouldn't say it's one of the mainstream games.
Mm.
I think it would need more of a push, and they're not showing anything. And
Say that.
little tidbits, but they're not really. I don't think they're really showing anything. So for me, it could. I don't think September. You're locking in September as the release date. So if it comes out in October, you
September.
get nothing, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. I'll
Okay,
take that.
all right.
Double or
Okay,
nothing.
you can have that bet because I don't think anything's coming out September. It's in between the fiscal year, the fiscal
Well, you
months and
see.
stuff like that.
Sekiro was announced in June of 2018 before it came out in October of 2019. So they're
Yeah.
pretty close to the chest with their games.
Mm.
But yeah, no, you could be right. You could be right. But you've got to bear in mind that production is obviously going to be slower because of COVID. So I think a lot of games are going to be slower than what they're expecting. And maybe they've coped with it really well and managed to keep up on the time. Listen, you've put yourself in for September. So I'm waiting for October 1st for this game to be released. And then you lose.
We shall see.
But because it's a snake, you get to go again, Vince.
Oh, I
goes
get
back
to go
the other way now.
again.
Yeah, we're doing a snake. So
Ooh, I love this. This is fun. Next prediction.
why do I feel like he's thinking of these on the spot?
Yeah, he's just throwing these out there.
I'm just
plucking them
trying
out of the
to
The world of Vince.
how spicy I want to get.
What's
Bring-
I
spicy?
don't
bring all-
wanna
bring
go
all the heat,
too
bring all the heat.
spicy.
Sprinkle on a
Just
little bit
you.
of that ghost chili, just put it on the top.
Oh yeah.
Look at that Salt Bay.
Yeah, that's what you want. Just sprinkle on. Tease us with it. Give us it.
Jesus with it. Well, my next spicy one. Halo Infinite is a November release for sure. They're not going to delay it. It's coming out 2021
In its full form.
In it.
Oh, he stumbled there. He stumbled there.
Well, because multiplayer is a whole different beast since they're releasing that for free to every Xbox owner. Anyway. Yeah, I do see it releasing in full in November. 20th anniversary of Halo has to be Halo Infinite. If they miss that, I mean, they're just gonna fuck up. If they miss 2021 anyway, Xbox is gonna fuck up because they can't afford that right now. They can't have just the medium as their exclusive this year. Considering
think-
that's doing
Yeah.
okay.
I think they
Okay.
have to, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question, though, that isn't... I'm going to sneeze. It
Bless
shocked me that much. I'm allergic to this actual prediction. No. Do you think if they release in, what month do you say, November?
November.
Do you think the game will be finished? Or do you think they'll just release it in any state and it's buggy and it's like, and I'm on about cyberpunk levels of bug and then it just needs to be patched like hell? Or do you think it is a finished game, good quality, Halo back on the map?
It would be a year after it was supposed to initially release. So you think that game has to be perfect. I mean, they need it to be perfect anyway to revitalize the Halo franchise. But they've had a year of extra development on that game from when it was supposed to be released. So there's no way this game comes out and it's cyberpunk levels of bad. I think, yeah, you might get a little bugs here and there, but it has to release with what they've promised so far.
Which would you rather it did?
Mm-hmm.
Release with bugs or miss the anniversary and come out the year later, but that would be detrimental to Microsoft?
Microsoft cannot take this L right now. Not at all. PlayStation's already so far ahead in terms of sales. the Xbox needs to redeem themselves somehow. And I think they're probably willing to let it release with a few bugs than to have it miss this year.
But, and not to nitpick at your terrible prediction too much, what would be worse for Microsoft?
Mhm.
Missing the date or releasing a Halo game that is tainted by bugs? Because if you look at Cyberpunk, 90% of the people now don't talk about the story. It is just how buggy it was, how terrible the launch was, how many and they're still making mistakes. But can Microsoft afford that? I'm not saying the level of Cyberpunk, because I agree it should be much better than Cyberpunk's level. But
you'd think.
I think this Halo game needs to be perfect.
It needs to be, to both put Microsoft back in the playing field and continue making Halo a name brand, which they fucked up with Halo 5. Honestly, if they really want to make the release, they're probably going to make the release of the anniversary, whether it's finished or not. I mean, I don't want to hold them to that, but who knows?
Yeah, I feel like they're stuck between the sky and the deep blue sea on this one. It's just like they need to release this year, because like you said, like what AAA titles have we got coming out from Microsoft? Like in the whole year of that console releasing, if Halo doesn't come out of that year, seriously, what have they got to show for it? Like everyone's waiting on that game. That's the system seller. That's what you buy a console, like an Xbox console for. Halo. That'd be the one that would like make me want to go out and buy an Xbox. It'd be to play Halo. But at the same time, you can't release it in after all of this wait, you can't release it in a state that's not. And even if they release it in a state that's, it's fine. Like, it's not broken. That's not good enough either. Yeah. It's got to be top tier. This game needs to be hitting 9s minimum. Like, it's got to be what all the Halo fans wanted it to be, going back to those prime years of like Halo 1 to 3 and Reach. Like I don't envy 343 at all, like, of what they've got to try and pull off, especially given what's gone on obviously with the development. But I just hate to think of it not hitting its release date and it not being great, because it's going to be so detrimental to Xbox.
Yeah.
Well, I'm next, so I will go with. Which one do I go with? Do I go
GTA 7?
GTA 7 announced by Christmas.
Right.
No, I'm gonna go. Oh, which one do I go with? Yeah, I'll go with this one. PlayStation buy Blue Point Studios and make them a PlayStation.
I'm with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a safe bet. I think there's rumors of it anyway. I've been thinking it for a while, but the more they do, the more it's like Sony are just going to buy them.
But why don't you go one further on that, Adam? Come on, be a bit ballsy. What is going to be? What's their next game?
Blue Point's next game will be GTA 6. They're going to team up with Rockstar. No.
Vice City remastered.
No, I think it has been mentioned quite a lot. It was mentioned on Kind of Funny as well. Yeah. I do think it's probably the Metal Gear Solid, remaking Metal Gear Solid 1. It makes sense. We know it's coming, really. There's too many rumors for it not to be true. If Blue Point are taking that, it's only going to release on PlayStation. It makes sense, especially with how aggressive Microsoft are being with buying studios currently.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation just need to get them in there and say, yeah, that's great, but all those remakes that you really want, Blue Point are going to make them. So, I think it's probably almost a surefire thing to happen.
It'd be silly for them not to. Absolutely,
it makes sense.
You know what I mean? They're known for recreating some of the most iconic PlayStation games. And is there a more iconic, arguably a more iconic PlayStation 1 game than Metal Gear Solid? Like, you want to lock them in and make that game. Like, it's just, that would be my dream for that to happen, for them to remake that. That'd be amazing.
I would be excited for that. I love the Metal Gear Solid franchise in general, and I think the series has been pretty solid throughout. There's a little pun
Hey, no pun intended.
Yeah. So for me, that's mine. Short and sweet. Vince.
The only bump I could see with that would be Konami trying to hold on to Metal Gear as desperately as they can.
They'll just take the payday, I think. Because Konami will be involved. It'll be their, but Blue Point will be the remaster.
Will Kojima be involved?
That would be the big sell, wouldn't it? If they said, and
not
Kojima's
heavily, obviously.
No, he would be, just say, with, as a producer or something like that on their Kojima Productions. Obviously, Kojima with Death Stranding, they're releasing more with that continuously. It'd be really cool to have him be a part of this as well. Like, it's his baby, so and I played Death Stranding. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I like that they keep releasing aesthetical stuff related to games that are coming out. How great would it be to have Solid Snake appear some way in Death Stranding as you could put on some of the outfits or something like that. It'd be a cool little nod. So Kojima and Konami are all the question marks around it, but I think Blue Point will be a Sony studio by the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look at that. We can agree. Oh, it just takes a clever prediction. Okay. No, Terry, we're over to you. Give us your second prediction.
Okay. My second prediction is another bit of a downer on this one. Sorry, guys, but
no, it's okay.
God of War Ragnarok, scheduled for 2021 release, will not be happening. No way. No way in hell. Won't come out this year. As at the moment it is scheduled to come out this year. But no, not going to happen. I think if we're lucky, we may see like a spring release, 2022. But yeah, that's what I think. And again, I think to this point now, I'm hearing a lot more talk of this, and I think it's become a pretty safe bet that it's going to happen. I'll be very surprised if they actually say no. And if it actually does, it's a completely different thing if Sony Santa Monica can say, oh, it's coming out this year. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about what they're going to say. I'm talking about if we get to the end of the year and this game's out, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah, I was on the fence. So one of my other predictions, I have 5 of them here, just in case someone took one or something like that.
Yeah.
One of my other ones was God of War does release this year. But it was more of a hope than a...
that's a hope right there.
A game as big as God of War, I think, would be difficult for them to turn around this quickly. But engine-wise, they don't need to do anything. They already have the engine. It's the story, and they spend a lot of time with the voice acting and stuff like that. And I think it's a long process to make a God of War game, and it could come out this year if they've had a really good production. It could. But they would have to say soon if it wasn't going to make it out this year, I think. I think whenever would you potentially, with the state of play, do you think maybe there's some mention of it there? Or do you think they wait until they do their big summer?
Probably not the best thing to announce in a state of play.
Or just change the date on it, though. Just say, they just put a different date at the end.
Yeah.
Saying coming soon.
Probably, I don't know. Maybe make an announcement shortly before. So that reveal trailer isn't met with disappointment. Just kind of set expectations, and then when you go into the state of play, you can kind of shoot high.
Yeah, it's probably like a little Santa Monica Twitter post that's been delayed, more than likely.
Yeah,
but the fact that we only got a logo a couple months ago, it does not mean that game's that far along. Plus, with COVID and everything, we don't know how long this is going to continue, how long they're going to be working remotely.
Yeah.
To turn a God of War game around at this time and put it out for release during this time would be a monumental task that I don't think they're going to hit.
But I feel like they went straight into God of War Ragnarok straight away. That was the thing, that the belief is that they went straight into it. And God of War released in, was it 2018?
Yeah, it's 2018.
Yeah, so they'll be going into having their third year of production, and if it's not in the realms of impossibility really that they haven't got a game ready to go. Like maybe they didn't want to show it yet because maybe it wasn't the right time, even though I think it was. Obviously, it's the.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it could go either way. I think you're probably right, Terry. I think it's probably going to get delayed.
Yeah,
but I think we'll see soon, I guess.
True.
And Terry, it goes back to you for your third pick.
So my third prediction, this is a positive one, and a much more out there one. This is more of a hopeful prediction from me as a fan. So yeah, we're gonna get announced a Jak and Daxter remake by Toys for Bob.
Ooh.
So yeah, Toys for Bob. If you don't know, they most recently they did Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And before that they did the Spyro trilogy, and they worked with Vicarious Visions on the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. So they're all fantastic remakes. What they did with them, obviously all PlayStation exclusive games, and as we know, the Naughty Dog games after the Crash Bandicoot games were the Jak and Daxter games, and we got Jak and Daxter 1, 2, and 3 that could be remade. Now, if this did happen, I would hope it would be a trilogy. Don't know how much of a project that would be compared to like the Crash games, but at the very least, the first Jak and Daxter. But if there's one developer that I would hope take this on, it's Toys for Bob. I think they just do an amazing job of it. I think there's a big demand for Jak and Daxter again. People want to see that. We're not going to see Naughty Dog go back to that well. It's just not going to happen with what they're doing. As a big Jak and Daxter fan, and I've recently replayed through the original, I'd love to see it. If we see that announced, I will lose my shit. I'd love to have us do a live react to that. That would be amazing.
Well, hopefully it gets announced as something that we are live reacting to. Yeah. Hopefully they'll just drop it out of nowhere.
No, that's a big announcement.
Yeah, because that is it's a massive announcement. I think hope's probably the right word.
Yeah.
Because I hope it would happen. But do you know what? It makes sense they've got to release what they're doing next. It makes sense. So.
Exactly. So what, based on what they've previously been doing, what would you guess they're going to be doing next? I mean, I don't know really.
Unless they do another Crash game.
Spyro 4.
Yeah.
Spyro would make sense. Yeah.
Could work on a new Spyro, yeah.
But
and I'd be pleased with that too, but not as much. Yeah.
If they did make the announcement this year, when do you think you'd get to play it? How far away?
This would be like a next year release, like probably towards the end. Yeah, probably towards the end of 22. Yeah, 22. Yeah.
No, I think it could happen. Like, I think we could get an announcement, especially over that summer period where there's a lot of conferences and obviously everyone does their own thing. Whatever Sony do theirs, I think that would be a good one to bring in. They always like to bring in a game like that. Crash was obviously a big thing for them when they brought Crash back, and Spyro didn't really have the same fanfare, but it was still. But that's it. Jak and Daxter is a bigger game, So. Okay. Well, seeing as we talked about God of War, I'm not going to use that one. So I'm going to go. It's a downer. So I'm sorry. Where it's all consoles cancelled. No, the Cyberpunk 2077 does not go back on sale on PS4.
Does not
go back on sale on PS4.
Ooh,
it goes on sale on PS5. I think that there's too many bugs. I think Sony's basically their QA, and they've come down a lot harder than Xbox did with obviously Xbox is still selling it, I believe. I don't think that the stuff that they're doing is going to fix the game enough on the old gen to get it to the standard that Sony need. Sony don't need it to be on their store. Like, they'll just wait to see when the PlayStation 5 version comes out, or you'll be able to buy it on the PlayStation 5 store, but you will not be able to buy it on PlayStation 4, like, at all. Now, I just looked now just to make sure it hadn't already been announced, and CG Projekt Red are saying we're working hard with Sony to get it back on the store, but they haven't said the timeline. They haven't said how long, if it's going to happen. And I just think that they'll quietly just not release on there. Not this year, maybe down the line when they'll put it back on. But no, I don't think that the work that they're going to do is going to fix the game on current gen enough for them to bother. I just think I don't think they'll continue updating the Xbox One after much longer. I think they'll just focus on getting it out on next gen and trying to have a better release on the next gen when they actually bring out their next gen version, which I think will get delayed as well, but that's a separate thing. I just think if you look at the patches that they've released, one of the patches broke the game more.
Yeah, see that.
Then the next patch made it so people could hack into your computer. Like it wasn't secure. It wasn't a secure patch. So then there was problems that people could actually access your computer and access your data. You could be hacked in Cyberpunk. Like
how ironic.
I know, yeah. Moronic is the word you're looking for. And it's just a comedy of errors.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like in the movie and the play, the producers, they are trying to make money and just create the worst show imaginable. And that seems to be what their CD Projekt Red are trying to recreate, the worst launch imaginable. Like they had the best intentions with the game, but it's just been mistake after mistake after mistake. And I just think that PlayStation will just go, no. Like, no. Because of all the refunds and everything like that. Most refunded game ever, by the way.
Really?
That makes sense.
I don't think that would happen. I hope it doesn't happen for their sake. Is it, as we spoke about this before, it's just one news story after the other where I just wish this wasn't happening for everyone involved. But it is happening, and it's such a shame because it's something that I was so excited about. And I will play it, obviously, when it does happen, or when we get a PlayStation 5 version. But yeah, I really hope that that doesn't happen. I hope that prediction does not come true. I hope that they are hard at work fixing that. I'd rather them just get to work on that, forget about the next gen one, focus on that, get it in the best state that that can possibly be, and then put that to side, get that
I hope so too.
some kind of like,
Sure.
I don't know, loyalty back, and then work away on making that next gen one what it can be.
Yeah, that's what I want to happen. This is purely a prediction.
My hope
is that they pull it out the bag, they do everything, and they get a. I don't think you're going to get a perfect game on the last generation. I don't think it can handle it. But
no.
I think you'll get. I'm hoping you'd get a decent game. But they've dropped the ball quite a lot, and I think they're scrambling, and I don't think that is a recipe for a good outcome.
Yeah.
Vince, what do you think?
That's a tough question because I could see them bringing it back for like an upscaled PS5 version. I mean, definitely. I mean, they'd have to bring it back to the PlayStation Store as long as it's good. I mean, because right now, well, I don't want to say Microsoft's making the money off of it because let's be honest, they're probably not because that game's probably not selling anymore. On the other hand, maybe it could come back to the PS5 if it runs good, but they've got a lot of ground to cover before that even happens. They've got to fix all these bugs. They've got to basically not break the game and allow hackers to break into your computer. And that's not even starting with, do they even think about DLC at this point? I mean,
they've delayed all their potential DLC, I think, haven't they? They said they were just going to work on fixing the releasing patches. So I think they've delayed their DLC. But
hopefully, because at this point, people aren't going to buy DLC. I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't. If I had
it happening,
like I had the game and I got the refund and I hadn't played much, I wouldn't want to give them any money for DLC at the moment. Like, I would want the DLC to be free, or way down the line when the game is. If I'm playing on a next gen console and the game is running like a good game, and then I can actually enjoy it. Then sure, but right now I don't want to see that popping up anywhere.
Oh no.
Anyway,
Plus, right
let's
now, you
move
don't
on from
even
the
have-
negative. Let's move on from the negative of Cyberpunk, and then I think
Yes.
Vince, you've got one last prediction, haven't you?
Yep. My last
Final
prediction.
prediction. Hit us with it.
All right. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Y'all ready for this?
Already. Are you ready?
Gears 6 is announced for 2022 with Kate Diaz remaining as the playable character. The main playable character.
This is a difficult one.
When was Gears
Is it?
5 released? Was it 2019 or was it 20?
2019. And 3 years prior to that was Gears 4. So they operate on a 3-year system.
But
So
now they've got to do
2021.
stuff for the new console.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's the only thing I would think would change that is moving. Like, I would imagine Gear 6 is going to be next gen only.
Yeah, it must be.
I would think.
You would hope. You know, I'm sure you like because at that point you don't want a 2022 release being a previous gen console holding it back. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would have thought that adjusting to that new tech maybe might need a little bit more time.
I have a question before I give my verdict on it, and the answer to this will decide it for me. Have they released a remaster of the original trilogy?
They did the Ultimate Edition for Gears 1, which was basically a remaster of that game. They haven't done 2 or 3.
Okay, then I don't need to hear anymore. The next their next game will be a remaster of maybe the original trilogy or 2 and 3. That'll be what they do next on the next gen. And then the year after, or maybe 2 years later, or probably a year after, they'll release the next year, is my prediction.
So to poke a little holes there,
Don't poke
Terry,
any holes.
you
It's
brought up-
whole proof.
that they would have to get used to the new Series X hardware. They've already done that for Gears 5. They've updated multiplayer to run at 120 frames per second. Campaign
Not a full
runs
game,
at
though.
60. No. But then you also have the Hivebusters DLC they recently put out for Series X and S. So they've had time to adjust a little bit to the system, find out how it works to a degree, admittedly. But they've obviously had time to go back and redo the campaign with certain updates.
Okay. Solid argument. What about my argument? No holes in that one, is there? No holes there, Vince.
Do we see an equivalent of the Master Chief Collection?
I think so.
I
I
mean,
think Gears will do it.
That would be the hope, but I don't know if they do it before Gear 6.
I've not played
But who knows?
all of the Gears, so I don't really know where the good. But isn't the original trilogy a solid trilogy, and then it reboots kind of before? Is that correct, or is that wrong?
That's slightly off.
Okay.
So you have the original trilogy in and of itself that released completely on the 360.
Yeah.
Then you have the spin-off, Gears Judgment, which the less we can talk about that game, the better.
Okay.
That was developed mostly by another studio, People Can Fly, who did Bulletstorm and then something else recently here, I think. And then it went over to the Coalition, who did 4 and 5 and the Ultimate Edition of 1. So
okay, well, I'm standing by my remaster of some sort. But yeah, do you know what? It could happen if they're following the track. We shall see.
I don't lean too hard either way on that one.
No,
I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we get a remaster of 2 and 3 at least.
I just like to poke holes in Vince's arguments.
Just like, you're wrong. You're wrong. I don't know why, but you're wrong.
Yeah, to be honest, you're probably right, but we shall see. But guys, that was the predictions. But guys, this is all like that tasty little start you have before your main course, and what I've been training all week for. Because last week we obviously had our debate on what was the greatest console of all times, and Terry cheated and was doing like a presidential campaign on Twitter, going, "Vote for the PlayStation 2, vote for the PlayStation," like handing out flyers. I think he was
Sony in it.
I think he was shaking babies' hands in the street, putting little stickers on them. He's wearing the jacket now. Like he
gotta do all the stuff, guys.
Yeah, he so basically he cheated and he
I won, basically. The verdict is in. The PlayStation 2 is the greatest console of all time. It's confirmed, it's done, dusted.
As the winner, Terry got to pick what this week's debate would be, and he can choose. He's going to be in charge of which order we say them in. So I think he's doing it fairly. I don't think he's putting himself last, but we shall see, because he got to pick this one first as well somehow. So
I'm not rigging this, guys. All right, this isn't real politics. No, but seriously. Okay. So the topic we're going for, the debate we're going for this week is the best video game setting or world. Okay, so yep. I went first last time, so I'm going to allow one of you guys to go first. Oh, we've lost Adam. He's already trying to back out this argument.
I'm scared.
You know he's not got a strong choice there. So I'm going to let Vince go first with this one. Okay. So Vince can start, and then we'll go from there.
Are we timing this?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No, you can just shoot. No one went to their time last time, so
yeah.
Well, fair.
I'm sure. Let's just say like the 3 minutes before. I'm sure you won't use all that.
All right. So, best video game setting. Let me paint you a picture of...
It's Bob Ross now.
As they've quoted it during development, destroyed beauty in the Gears of War franchise. See, now Adam's upset. He knows he can't win.
He's bailing out already, maybe. I don't know.
He is. Let me pull you in and give you this wonderful world, destroyed by war, destroyed by 80 years of war prior to the Locust War, when monsters came up from underground and continued to destroy society, forcing their government to destroy even more, which comes to probably one of the best scenes or best levels in any video game. So, with a little backstory, during the Locust War, humanity got desperate and decided to burn major cities with a space satellite, we'll call it. And in Gears 3, there's a segment where you're walking through a burned city, and all around you is basically Pompeii. People running for their lives, encased forever in ash where they stood, people pulling people from cars, people in the streets curled up to each other, just gone in their final moments. It's bleak, it's fantastic, and it's amazing. It just sets the tone for the entire series. This destroyed civilization, a civilization that's been only moved to one city. That's the only human population can fit inside one city, because people have been murdered around the world in the billions. I just love Gears' art in general. Like the whole concept of a planet that's so ravaged by war from such a high place of where it was, that's visually concepted in Gears 4 when you go to a museum that was once a fort from the previous wars, and you're going through and you're looking at just how broken it was by the previous conflicts. You see in a crypt statues of great kings that were once there that have been broken and shattered by time. It's so good. Like, it's so good.
Okay, that's a good argument. So this is the world of Gears. As someone that's not a big Gears fan, is what is that? Is it Earth, or is it just like a?
It's a fictional planet called Sarah. So it's not basically Earth. It's, You just got humans and creatures that live underground as well.
Just to be clear, like
Mhm.
just so before I rip your argument to shreds,
Good luck.
are we talking about the whole of the planet? Or are we talking about the specific?
Mhm.
What is your actual? Are we talking about the whole
Yeah.
planet or
I'm
just
talking
that
about
part?
the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Because everywhere you go on the planet is basically like that. It's a planet completely ravaged by war that's been broken down for so long.
Okay.
Mhm.
Harry, do you want to say something
No.
about this?
Well, I mean, I know it hasn't got a patch on my one personally, which I'll get to soon. But I think it's a fair argument, and it's something that stretches across multiple games and built up that history there. And obviously, it's a very pretty world, and it's I think it's a very valid entry, but it's got nothing against my one personally. But we're not going to go to me next. We're going to go to Adam.
Okay.
Adam.
Well, first of all, welcome to my TED Talk. I've got a presentation ready to sort of pull this over. No, yours is really cute, Vince. I like it. You've gone small, like you've gone for a small idea. Like it's very samey. It's just, oh, where can we put a destroyed building? Where can we put a locust hole? Where can we put someone torn in half? Oh, just put one there. Put one there. Like boring. I give to you the benchmark for game worlds. The one that when a game comes out, they say, is the world as big, as good, as livable as GTA 5? GTA 5 Los Santos is the greatest open world environment that we have ever had. It has everything. And the fact that it keeps evolving and they keep adding to it is an incredible feat. And that this far down in the cycle of this game, it is still the benchmark. It is still, when this game came out, it changed gaming forever. That how an open world should be. It is livable. It is a living world. When you drive around it, it is a experience within itself, and you can spend hours just driving around it. You want to go out to the countryside, go to the countryside. You want to go up a mountain, go up a mountain. You want to go out into the water, go out into the water. You want to fly, go fly. Your Gears of War is you run around with your little chainsaw gun going like for however many hours is boring in these linear environments that you move through. GTA, off you go. Do whatever you want. Go see all these different people, all these different environments. Like, it is an incredible feat for gaming. It is the benchmark. It is the top of the food chain when it comes to open world games and gaming environments. Rockstar always nail it. Like you look at Red Dead as well, and the history within GTA. Obviously, GTA 5 coming from San Andreas, and then what they started with there, and then moving it across, and that's all you ever see is what Grove Street used to look like to what it looks like now, what Chiliad looks like to what it does now. These are famous areas that you can drive around and people know what they are. You say, oh yeah, I was just driving down Sandy Shores. People know what Sandy Shores is. You driving up in the Vinewood Hills. People know what that is. And I watch films, and I've never been to LA, and I see things in films, and I go, I've seen that in GTA. I've seen what that looks like. That bridge is that I've drove over that in GTA. It is so well made that your little tiny idea of Gears and this linear little run through this little bit, and we'll spend a lot of time making this room look nice, when there's a world and a city where you can just go nuts. That is my pick for GTA 5.
Vince, you wanna tear him apart first?
Oh, I absolutely want to tear them apart.
It is
Because what you just described is just a city. It's a city. Like, yeah, you basically just gave it gameplay mechanics is what you listed. You can go anywhere. It's open world. It's great. It's a city. What history is there in the city besides it being a city?
Not true. Not true. There's so many calls back to previous games, which is what you want from a game world, is history as well, and it has that. And you say it's just a city, but it's also an island. There's also multiple islands there. They've just released a new island for the game, like, which is fair enough, is on online and not on single player, but it's still part of the same city. In winter, they put snow everywhere, like, and change it around. They've built a casino into it. They've built new buildings all over the place, and you've upgraded. Now there's bunkers underneath it. About a game that it develops with time. It is the best-selling game of all times. It is constantly in the top 10. It's still in the top 10 now.
And this is where we get to the point why Adam has gone for this one. He's playing to the masses again, everyone. He went for the PlayStation 4 last week, hoping to jump on the bandwagon of the Twitter polls. It didn't work out for him, guys. People went with a gut. They went with the PlayStation 2. It's going to happen again. He's trying to go play for the big selling crowd of the PlayStation, of the GTA 5.
I've got one question to ask you both, and then I'll leave it with there. And you have to answer truthfully.
Okay.
Regarding the next GTA, when GTA 6 this year gets announced, what do you want to see more? Who the character is or where it is set?
Where it's set, because I need a break from that crap of Los Santos, you know what I'm saying?
Because wherever it is set will be game-changing, because they did it with GTA 5, they did it with San Andreas, they did it with Vice City, they did it with Liberty City. Before that, like, they did it, but it was a totally different thing. Like, they know how to make gaming worlds that are livable, that I now have completed the game so many times that I just go on to drive around. No, there's nothing either of you can say that is going to beat that as a world.
Well, I think you might be wrong there, guys, because all right, Vince, I'll give you your whole series or whatever you want to call it, your planet from Gears. Right, great. Woo, there's a planet that looks like Pompeii. Look at Ash and chainsaws and stuff. That's great. And Adam, I mean, come on, like, you're given the tools of a game developer to create infinite worlds that your whole imagination and whatever's at your fingertips. Let's create Los Angeles. Come on, get out of here. Get out of here. When I play games, I want to be transported to something that even films can't even reimagine. I want to go somewhere original, something I've never seen before. I don't want to go to Los Angeles or something looking like Pompeii. I want to go to something brand new. And there isn't a game that you can present to me where it unveils its world, which has made me gasp so much and take me back as Rapture from BioShock.
That's a good one.
See,
that's a good one.
When you are down in that bathysphere and Andrew Ryan's talking to you from the projection screen, and then that metal screen opens up and you see that city of Rapture in the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, and you're telling me that you didn't fall in love with this game world, well, I'm telling you, your heart is cold as the bottom of the Atlantic Sea. You know what I'm saying? Rapture is an absolute masterpiece in originality, in design, just the way that it looks. Like, I mean, seeing the neon lights, the 1920s neon lights, and the whales float, like swimming by, and octopuses and schools of fish, as you're seeing lit up hallways and tunnels of restaurants and ballrooms, and the whole Art Deco design, which I absolutely love that look. There's no other game that I can think of that has that aesthetic, that has that look to the world. I remember first seeing screenshots of that game in magazines and having no idea what it was about, no idea of the genre, but just thinking, wow, it just stood out from everything else on the page. Just thinking, what is that? There's nothing looks like it. The Big Daddies, like the design to them with their weird take on their like early 1900 deep sea diving kits and their drills, and the little sisters like walking around. Their designs are so iconic, but it's this world that you get to explore that's so desolate and scary and horrific, yet at the same time weirdly inviting. Like, you imagine it in its heyday and how amazing it would be to live in a place like that in that time. The design of the characters' outfits, what they wore back then, this like kind of weird Alice in Wonderland, you know, the cosplay stuff they wear for the ballrooms of the New Year's Eve, exploring the history of this world through the audio logs, and listening to what Andrew Ryan's vision was of this world that he's built, like deep down near the volcanic craters of like the Earth's core. It's just the whole concept behind like heating this whole like city up, and what rules there were, and the people that worked there, and the economics of little things down to like who was collecting the rubbish, and it just, and the tax, and it's just got so much go into it that they can build onto. That they you know, they released a book on Rapture, which is fantastic. It goes deeper into that kind of that mythos that they set up. But I just feel like that game gives me a sense of feeling of being in that environment like anything else. Just the sounds of the vending machines going off, the circus values, and like the what's the other one, like the adverts on the wall, just the artwork, the 1920s 30s artwork of the tonics, and the adverts for all the, like, the new power-ups and stuff like that. It's just so much going on that I've not seen repeated as well since that came out. And we're talking like this came out over a decade ago. That's what I want from my gaming settings. I don't want to be go to my game to drive around bloody Los Angeles. I can fly to Los Angeles and do that. I can't go to Rapture. All right. And that's what gaming's about. And that's why Rapture from BioShock is the best gaming setting ever.
You know, the problem with you two, like, is you think too small. Like, Rapture's great. Rapture's great and all, and it was good.
Well, that's Andrew Ryan.
It's nice, but couldn't really explore it. You could go where they wanted you to go. You know, what they wanted you to see. Same with Gears. You could go where they wanted you to go, what they wanted you to see. I think they would struggle if they had the scope of Rockstar and to make that as impressive over an open world environment. To do that, and you're on about like having the backstories and stuff like that. In GTA, you've got things that they don't tell you about. You can go off and solve crimes. You can go off and find serial killers. You can listen. All the radio is all embedded in stuff that's going on. The world reacts as you do things throughout the game. That's the story mode. And in open world, you can play with the stock market. You can influence the stock market, and it reacts in real time. Like, it's cute having these nice linear experiences, which are great games. No one's denying the games aren't good, but they're not the best world and environment. I'm like the creme de la creme I'm talking about here. You've got a McDonald's and a KFC going up against a Five Guys. Okay, and Five Guys, it's just a better quality. You taste the money put into it. You take it, the reason it makes so much money and the reason it does so well is because it is still the best gaming world where you can be whatever you want to be.
I would challenge your comparison there. I'm going to say it's more like you're comparing a cheap £5, $5 all-you-can-eat buffet with a gourmet Michelin star prepared for every tiny little taste to be perfect dish. You know, we're not measuring up sandbox games here. We're not trying to like say what's the best playground to play in. We're talking about worlds here. We're talking about visions and what's, you know. I'm sorry.
Do you know what? Like I said, they are both good games, and I'm a big fan of BioShock. So I'm not arguing with a lot of the stuff you said. And I think Rapture is a massive part of those games, especially, obviously, a massive part of the game. But it's no San Andreas, which is no Los Santos. And like, it's built on Los Santos. All the others walked so Los Santos can run. San Andreas broke the mold. Everyone remembers how amazing San Andreas was. Los Santos is San Andreas on a lot of steroids, where they've refined it and made it a living city, which then made them make Red Dead Redemption 2. All built from that same ethos of you can go anywhere and you can live a real.
Except for San Fierro and except for Las Venturas.
But they were separate places.
Not in San Andreas, they weren't. Good game, though.
No, There was a big
that
game.
would have been a good choice.
But it wouldn't, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for them to all be connected that close. They realize that. Listen, we could go around in circles about how you two are wrong, but
Well,
Let Twitter decide.
we let Twitter decide, but you, Mr. Terry Jeffs, less of the promoting your own thing, especially because you're in charge of social media. I want a fair
and also drop comments in the, if you're not going on Twitter, whatever, just drop comments in
we'll count
in
them.
the video on out of these three, and if you've got a different option that you want to bring forward, like, you know, best gaming setting, if you think you've got a better idea, drop in the comments.
Yeah, exactly, and we'll add it to the list. And I'm gonna get sick of seeing GTA, San Andreas, but you know, I'll count them all up. I'll sit and count them. It's okay.
Well, see, your problem here is, Adam, you've picked the wrong GTA, just like you picked the wrong PlayStation last week.
If you'd have gone with Vice City, I would have probably gone, yeah, you know what?
Vice City is one of the...
I can't argue with you there. I mean,
Vice City is one of the better GTAs, but the world is too small. And I think you've got to look at which is the best world to drive around in. I think a lot of what makes Vice City a good game was the music. That's not the gaming world so much as a thing. So that's why I went with what is the best one to drive around in. For me, and for most people, hence why it's the best-selling game of all times, GTA 5. But
again,
end up arguing with each other. It's all about love, not war. So they were both. Everyone had really good suggestions this week.
it was good.
We'll leave it up to everyone else to decide. This has been a long one. We've got through a lot.
This is what it's about, man. This is the podcast. We get into the minutiae of things.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to have all three of us on the screen. You know?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I miss the trio. But yeah, so we have next week more news, more podcasts. Please come and have a look at them. Give us a like and a subscribe and all of that crap. And if you want to, and
do it.
Please do it. Why won't
even
you
if it's just to argue your point against us, like to say we're wrong? Drop it in the comments. Let us know.
If you haven't subscribed, I'm not going to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I will look at it. I will. But I want to say thank you to Vince. Thank you for being here. Shame your monitor didn't arrive.
Oh, it's here. Is the problem?
Oh, it's there, is it?
Oh, it arrived. Did it?
It did.
Oh, no. Wait. Hold the press, guys. I want you to lift it up. I want to see
I
this
don't
monitor.
have it with me right now. I'm gonna have to
Oh,
go get it.
Okay, well,
we'll leave that for
when
next time.
when we record the next news, you'll be using the monitor, won't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, you look forward to that. We record that on a Sunday. That goes out on a Monday. So, guys, we'll see you next week. Vince, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for making me laugh with your predictions and your debate. It's nice for that humor to come through.
Yeah.
And Terry, once again, always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me.
And I've been Adam. That's been Terry. That's been Vince. We've been Shifty Crab. See you later.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.